Hey there, I'm Mary Guerra, and it's great to have you joining us on this week's edition of UTRGV-TV. And moving on to the news. Damage from last month's storms can still be felt in one Mission community. Orlando Vargas shows us how residents are dealing with the cleanup.
208 is ours. It's not even plugged into 208.
It's boots on the ground for Willina Haynes and her husband.
The total destruction around here, people lost everything. My pots are still there. They didn't move. The trailer didn't move. And we survived. You can see how it landed here. It crunched this.
Chimney Park is their home. They lived here for 8 years. It only took hours for the storm to destroy their town.
The whole trailer was just breathing and jumping and jumping and just like an earthquake.
Border Patrol along with the Mission Fire Department were some of the first responders on scene.
They gathered us all up and put us in the library and accounted for us. Then they went around and made sure all the propane tanks was off. We could smell propane.
Haynes and her husband were lucky. Their property suffered minor damage. Her neighbors completely lost their homes.
I just can't imagine what those people are going through that lost everything, because I know the impact on me just from the experience of going through that horrible storm and then worrying about people that I thought had probably died.
Law enforcement and emergency responders feared the worst that night.
And they had the light and they flashed it down here. They looked at each other and said, "We will have casualties." And when there wasn't, it's astounding. It's astounding.
Piles of wood and debris are all that's left here at this Chimney Park location. Now we're standing in one of the locations where a mobile home once stood. We're told that during last week's storm, this mobile home rolled over twice by the winds finally bringing it down on top of this palm tree, slicing through it.
You're looking at all this and it's total unbelief that what you're looking at. You can look at pictures, but when you actually see it, and each time we came back in to try to get the rest of our medicine or stuff, then we would see something else that we didn't see before.
She and the rest of the Chimney Park residents are now dealing with the cleanup, trying to save what's left.
I would say this time, probably in 6 months, you'll never know that a tornado hit this place.
Haynes says a storm will not turn her away from the place she's called home.
It's pretty emotional. It's pretty emotional. Yeah, it's pretty emotional. And when I look around and I see how blessed we are, I just thank God.
In Mission, I'm Orlando Vargas.
Every year, Forbes releases their annual top listed colleges. This year, UTRGV made the list by ranking 530th out of 660 schools. Within the UT system, UTRGV ranked third, coming behind UT Austin and UT Dallas. UTRGV spokesman Patrick Gonzalez shares how this rank is important to the university.
So for UTRGV to be ranked after its first year is just tremendous for us. It lets us know that we're on the right track, that we're doing the right things. People are noticing what we're doing here.
The universities will rank differently based on their graduation rate and academic success. A statement released by President Guy Bailey shares that this is a tribute to the outstanding work of our legacy institutions. If you want to see all the schools listed, you can check out their website at www.forbes.com/topcolleges. It's an app that has taken the world by storm, and with it has come some good and some bad. Cassandra Torres reports on how UTRGV is dealing with Pokemon Go.
So just give me a couple of seconds here. I was finally able to spot a Pokemon. So all I have to do is aim, throw. And now I added a new Pokemon to my collection. That is how simple the game Pokemon Go is to play. All you need is your phone, GPS signal, and a good aim to catch them all. And UTRGV students are joining in on the fun.
90s kid. I'm a 90s kid, so I played Pokemon when I was a kid, and I thought it was cool that they brought it back. It got a lot bigger actually, and I'm just used to it, watching Pokemon and stuff.
Perhaps nostalgia is why the app is popular with students, and that has caused an increase of people walking on campus, especially at night.
I usually spend every night from 6:30 to 9:30 on campus, just walking around, going to Pokestops, trying to catch them all.
And like Joseph catches his Pokemon in the evening, most students are only seeing what's happening on the bright screen. And UTRGV's police force is well aware of that disadvantage.
When they see that you have a police force that's very visible, oftentimes they'll go off to wherever there's an easier target where they haven't seen any police officers. And that's one thing that we have here at the UTRGV campus, is that we do have our police officers that are assigned primarily to the campuses. Therefore, we can maintain a consistent level of policing and visibility out on the campus.
The presence and interaction with officers gives students some peace of mind, which allows them to enjoy the game.
Yeah, driving around, sometimes they actually walk around like on campus and ask people like what else they're doing here, because I mean there's people that exercise and they do homework, I guess late at night, but they actually do ask and go out of their way to ask people what they're doing here, like what's happening or something.
There has been no incidents regarding the game, but Munguia still advises students to contact the school's police of any suspicious behavior. That way everyone can have fun and still catch them all. In Edinburgh, UTRGV-TV, Cassandra Torres.
And now, Daniel Gavan has the latest in sports.
Welcome to another UTRGV-TV Summer Sports Report. I'm Daniel Gavan, and I've taken my talents to South Beach, specifically South Padre Island. Now, why am I here? Why not? And the answer to that question is that it's really, really hot. The sand makes me uncomfortable, and I regret this decision already, but I'm here anyway. So there's a lot of sports to talk about. We've got RGV Toros action, a UTRGV tennis coach stepping down, a look at some of the new UTRGV basketball players, and the world's best Olympic preview and that vehicle. But first, a quote from Melania Trump. Are you ready? Fruit salad, yummy, yummy. That was the Wiggles. I apologize. Yes, that was the Wiggles. Respect the Wiggles. Okay, growing up, when my friends and family weren't there, which was often, the Wiggles were. But side note, as I've grown older, the word wiggle has made me more and more uncomfortable. So there's that wiggle of information. You see, you're pretty uncomfortable right now. Anyways, on to actual sports. The RGV Toros, the Valley's professional soccer team, a team in the United Soccer League, an affiliate of the Houston Dynamo. They've had a crazy week. They had plenty of news take place over the past couple of weeks. Most notably, they announced the name of their new soccer stadium. Okay, the facility from this day forward will be called HEB, P-A-R-K. H-E-B, you know, a high school reunion every time you want to get groceries. The stadium, which isn't open yet, promises to be really cool with a significant amphitheater, a restaurant at the soccer field, and it can seat 9,700 people. One thing about HEB is that it does remind me that the great Tim Duncan retired after I recorded my last sportscast, so I just wanted to give a shout out to his natural environment.
There's nothing like chocolate HEB Mootopia after a workout to help rebuild muscles.
Chocolate HEB Mootopia. The best way to build muscles other than steroids. Hashtag Vladimir Putin. One note on Tim Duncan. I think he's one of the greatest 10 basketball players of all time, okay? I think he's certainly the best player of a generation that includes Kobe, Garnett, Dirk, and Yao Ming, of course. And a large part of that goes to how spectacular he was on defense, along to go with his offensive production. Nevertheless, back to the Toros. They played 2 games since the last time I talked to you guys. The first was a July 10th 0-0 draw against the Tulsa Roughnecks. The game itself was incredibly boring. And instead of highlights, I want to show you 2 specific lowlights that were strangely entertaining from the game. Firstly, the Toros captain Kevin Garcia was suspended for the game because of a red card, so the Dynamo sent down a player named Abdoulaye Mansali. He served as the captain. He was number 34, and Mansali played really well. But here he is. Mansali is seen receiving a shot to the Mansalis. Tulsa's goalkeeper is also here, being the worst teammate in the world, kicking a ball and hitting his poor teammate directly in the head. That was the offensive highlight of the game. But fear not, because just a few days later, the RGV Toros welcomed the best team in the Western Conference, the Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. They welcomed them to the stadium, and the game was phenomenal if you are a Toros fan. The Toros won 4-0. Here's Jose Memo Rodriguez, a 20-year-old from Worden, Texas. He's been phenomenal all year, and here Rodriguez is scoring, and he started it in the 16th minute thanks to Clemson's TJ Kasner. There's a police car going. That's crazy. Kasner would follow that up a few minutes later with a goal of his own, and before the first half ended, the Toros jumped to a 3-0 win thanks to Memo Rodriguez again with the wonder strike. And then in the second half, here's the 4th goal by Emilio Garcia. Heading into the game, the Toros had been in an offensive rut, but this may have been the exorcism that they needed to get right into the playoff picture, and they'll have an opportunity to improve on that next Saturday at their practice facility. And check it out, there's an awesome, man, woo! That was cool. Moving on to UTRGV. Firstly, UTRGV Athletics. They just announced on Sunday that women's tennis coach Stephanie Wooten-Kahada is resigning from her post to pursue other professional opportunities. Kahada was a coach for under a year, but in that time frame, she managed to win the WAC championship with her team. That was the first UTRGV team to do that, and her as well as her players obviously did something tremendous for the university. I want to thank them and her, and I think it's clear that she's a rising star in her profession. On to the lighter side of UTRGV athletics. The UTRGV basketball season is a few months away, and there will be plenty of new faces for both the men and women's team. So I decided to break them down with YouTube deep dives, and here you go. Here's 4 clips on YouTube that I found late at night on the new Vaquero and Vaqueras. Firstly, here's guard Mike Nwabuzor. I don't know how to say his name, but he's a junior college transfer from Central Arizona Community College, which I swear on JJ Watt. The Central Arizona Community College's mascot is the Vaqueros. Anyways, here he is with an alley-oop dunk for the Vaqueros. Here's Tuana Dinge. She's coming over from Turkey, and this here she shows her handle and ability to lay it up for 2. And then there's Megan Johnson. She's from Australia. She'll be another international addition to the women's squad. And honoring Tim Duncan and Luke Longley, here are a couple phenomenal passes that Ben Simmons should be jealous of. And lastly, moving back to Coach Lou Hill's team. Back in 1985, Coach Hill played for Wichita State, and a year before that, former NBA All-Star and ex-man Xavier McDaniel played for the Shockers. Now it's 2016-2017, and McDaniel's son, Xavier McDaniel Jr., will play for Coach Hill this year. And in 2000, I was playing Pokemon Yellow, and now in 2016, I'm absolutely not playing Pokemon Go because I'm an adult. Anyways, here he is at Hammond High, making the basketball rim cry. That rhymed. I'm excited about UTRGV basketball, okay? But you got to build chemistry to build a team like the Alabama Crimson Tide or the San Antonio Spurs or Kim Kardashian and her camera. By the way, aspiring actress Taylor Swift is now casting for her next boy toy. Sorry, Tom Hiddleston. On to the 2016 Olympics. Lastly, I'll talk more about it next time, but I really wanted to show you this insane video from Simone Biles' coach. Simone Biles is a gymnast that is about to become a super duper star in America, but here's a sneak peek as her coach recorded her doing something absolutely absurd on the balance beam. That just about does it for me, but before I go, here's a quick commercial break.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Trumpmon!
Boom, ping, ping, ping.
Thanks for watching. Reporting for UTRGV-TV, I am Daniel Galvan, and I regret everything.
Inspirational music as Daniel runs into the beach. Da-na-na.
That's all we have for you today. But remember, if you have a story you'd like for us to know about, you can find us on social media or send us an email at utrgvtv@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.